The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And is my mic operational?
Your mic is on.
Okay.
I can hear you. It wasn't on initially, but I can hear you now.
Okay. Live TV. Welcome to live TV.
Well, you know, I had a question because if you have ever watched our opening, it says things like connecting to. And it's like Rio de Janeiro, Los Angeles, New York, Moscow. And somebody actually asked me over the weekend, do you really connect to Moscow? Do you really connect to Rio de Janeiro? I said, hey, it's live TV. We never know where we're going to connect.
Yeah, we never know where we're going. We've actually gotten fan mail and comments from the United Arab Emirates.
Yes, we have.
And maybe our state rep is riding a camel around there right now. I saw a picture of him riding a camel. So
yeah, I guess they're in Israel.
Well, they're somewhere. I didn't read the caption. He was on a camel.
No. They were going overseas, and I don't know if it was to Israel or, you know, one of the Arabian countries or something, the Middle East.
Yeah, I think it might have been one of the Arab countries.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it was Israel.
One of the Middle East, and they had to keep it kind of on the hush-hush because of security issues and whatnot. And they made it very clear that that's not being paid for by state dollars. That's being paid for by a private foundation. You know,
who now will look for a certain vote. Yeah, that's so it's being paid for by something that'll ultimately bite the taxpayers in the butt. So
exactly,
because whatever that foundation is looking for, it's probably money out of the taxpayers' wallets.
Yeah.
But he was riding a camel, so it was near and dear to my heart. It was see him riding a camel. That's it. Yahoo! So now we got Alan of Arabia to go with Lawrence of Arabia. Beautiful.
Oh God, I'm telling you, this is Fall River.
I'm glad they had to keep it on a down low, and he's posting pictures of himself on Facebook. But I never known he was in an Arab country around Israel somewhere. So
actually, he was at Southwick Animal Farm.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh God, this is
it's
terrible.
Christmas.
Yeah, it's Christmas.
It's Christmas, pre-Christmas week.
Yep, and I'll tell you, it's exactly 1 week today that it will be Christmas.
Yep.
We will not be on the air next Monday. We only have 2 shows next week and 2 shows the week after because New Year's Day is on the following Monday.
That's right.
I don't know what's going to happen. Our viewers got to go into withdrawal.
Yeah, it's going to be like Bah Humbug Day. What do you remember? You know, Christmas Day. Everybody's just after they open a presents, they're just like, what do we got to do? Nothing now.
They're going to open their presents early so they can watch Spindle City Street Talk, and we won't even have a holiday episode on.
And of course, because it's Christmas, there's very little going on because everybody's kind of like hunkering down, running around, doing their Christmas shopping, giving all their friends jobs while nobody's looking, and making all their appointments. And
I said that this weekend in the Weekend Flush. I said,
I saw it. I liked your terminology.
Hey, I didn't come up with the term monkey butt, okay? Or butt monkey, excuse me.
Butt monkey, yeah.
Butt monkey. I didn't come up with that term. That was actually given to me by a group of businessmen. I was in a business meeting Sunday. Imagine that on Sunday.
Yeah.
And they just said, they're just nothing but a bunch of butt monkeys. And I said, oh, that's great. That's going to go nicely this weekend.
Yeah, so now you've made that part of Fall River, the Fall River language now. Everybody now will from this day forward, they'll know what the butt monkey. So
that's it. You know,
yeah, I got a little chuckle when I started reading that one. So,
you know, it's interesting when you're writing this stuff because you kind of get lost in it at first, and I have to do 2 or 3 drafts to get it right, and even then I'm still not happy with it. But it has to be out by 6 o'clock, so I've set a deadline on myself that must be met. And I send it out to be proofed by a couple of people. And one of my proofers didn't get back to me until 5:35, and I'm like, I already proofed it 3 times. I'm done. It's out. Because it goes into an automated system that emails it out at 6 o'clock, which is kind of nice. So I can sit down and eat dinner before it gets mailed out. But yeah, you know, it was Christmas in Fall River, and you know, Santa Correa was on the move.
Giving out. We're looking at. I'm looking at the city council agenda here, and I see all kinds of appointments to various commissions. So he is busy. He is as busy as one of Santa's elves.
But interestingly, you know, interesting about it is, and I'm not exactly sure if I remember this correctly or not, but I believe that a couple of those appointments either serve currently on a board or serve as city employees. And if they currently serve on the board, and I looked at these resumes, one of them is microfiched. They just printed out the microfiched resume. And that was for the who was that for? You know, when you've got all of these things, it's amazing.
Well, I see one interesting. You know, these appointments may be overlaps and stuff, but they're still, you know, he's shaping the government between the charter that he wants to enforce only with things that benefit him. Like I can walk into any meeting I want because it's in the charter, but other parts of the charter, the hell with it, we're not going to even bother. And I see one here, the mayor requesting the creation of a position of opioid clerk part-time. You know, and then they have the mayor authorizing the acceptance of gifts from pavers and from monuments and stuff, which is probably okay. But I'm not sure if that, I'm not sure if that's legal. But then again, who cares? I know. I mean, I'm sure that if I'm looking at pavers and
well, they can accept gifts
and monuments.
Yep.
So it's probably got something to do with something that's.
But what we do is we got to look down the road, and if this same paver and monument company get contracts, then we know how it was done. It was a payoff.
But they're probably working on the monument down at Kennedy Park, which is good. That memorial should be kept in. And it normally is, but if they're going to do some upgrades or something like that.
But according to our new charter, you cannot serve on more than one board or commission.
Yep.
And you cannot be a city employee. So hopefully none of these people are serving on a current board or commission, and hopefully none are city employees.
Well, you know, we do what we want when we want to do it, and if it was something else, we'd say no. So, but you know, another new position slid in there. I wonder who the part-time opioid clerk's going to be.
I don't know, but it pays about $17 or $18 an hour for 19 hours a week, just underneath the benefits mark.
Yeah, that's pretty good money in this city. I think a lot of people would take that. They'd probably make more working 18 to 19 hours than they're making putting in 40 hours today.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, that's the problem. But, hey.
But you know Wednesday's going to be a great show because it's the day after a council meeting. And this is the final council meeting.
That's right. So there should be some pretty, you know, there should be some pretty exciting things going on. Who knows what Well, interestingly enough, in the Health and Environmental Affairs Committee meeting, which is today at 6:30 at City Hall, Pamela Liberté-LeBeau is supposed to bring up off the table an ordinance that I wrote several months ago, and I sent to all 9 city councilors, and that was in regards to the plastic bags that you get in Stop and Shop and Shaw's, the local convenience store. Those bags are a major problem in recycling because people put all the bottles and cans and paper in them, and they just throw the whole bag with everything in it into the recycle bin. Regardless of how many times they're told not to.
Exactly.
This is Fall River. That's right.
And the thing is that every time one of those bags gets into the recycling stream, it costs the city like $150. And if worse than that is, people sometimes just say, the hell with it, and I throw it out the window. And they're on the street. And if you've ever seen them, they're in trees, they're, you know, when they blow out of the landfills, they're tremendous. You get a good heavy wind, you'd be next to a landfill, and you're going to see trees strewn with these bags. It takes about, 1,000 years or 10,000 years for one of these bags to degrade. So we're stuck with these bags forever. Now, a city councilor told me, well, you got to understand something. The seniors like those bags. It makes it easy for them to take their groceries home. So to make it easy to take people's groceries home, we're going to eat $150 every time one of these bags is put into recycling.
Yeah, but there's a difference between taking your bags home in a convenient bag, but then using a bag for something that it's not supposed to be used for.
Yeah, but interestingly enough,
I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me. People just, I understand people do, they've got memories the size of gnats. They don't care what you did. It's what did you do for me today? They don't care. As Shakespeare once said, the good is interned with your bones, with your bones. And all they remember when they want to is what's in their own self-interest, as we can see from elections and things. But the fact is, look, I'm not a big fan of plastic bags because animals swallow them and there's all kinds of stuff with them. But I mean, the answer is always eliminate everything. Why don't you just try to, well, maybe, that was crazy. Look, forget it. I was on a thought that led to, why don't we educate the public to do it the right way? But then again,
we've been
how
doing
long
that
have
for
we
years.
had purple bags?
Yep.
And we haven't educated them yet to use purple bags.
Exactly.
So this is Fall River. So cancel that. I thought I was I didn't realize that I was talking about something that in this alternate universe just doesn't work.
But interestingly enough, surrounding our community, and I think this is why now Pamela Libertator-Bow wants to take this off the table. You have communities like Barrington, Warren, East Providence, that are all passing ordinances to get rid of these. Cambridge did it. Now, they say, well, then people are going to have to pay for bags. They're going to go back to paper bags. And they'll get the paper bags with handles and et cetera, et cetera. But the stores also, when this first happens in a community, normally give away the recycling bags. The recycled bags, the green ones, the blue ones. I mean, when Market Basket opened, they were giving them away for free. They were giving them away for free.
Yeah.
And,
go ahead.
And when you get that opportunity to get these bags for free and use them and to save your environment and save the city some money, that works wonders.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it would be so easy if you lived, and ironically enough, probably in communities like Cambridge, Barrington, they're fairly affluent communities. They have populations that actually pay attention. You probably really didn't need the ordinances. Most of those people, if you go to the bottle return and stick your bottles in a machine to get your return money, there's always a couple of receptacles there to accept those plastic bags.
That's
so
right.
they can deal with them. But I mean, that would be way too difficult to actually I use these plastic bags to bring my groceries home, and maybe I can use them to bring a couple of cans back and put it. Well, that's what I do. I take plastic bags if I've got them, and I keep them in a separate, bigger plastic bag. And when I go to return bottles, I take all the plastic bags, and I put them in a receptacle.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult if you think about it, but like I said, it's kind of difficult to get a blue bag. Well, the purple bags are about money, but I mean, you can't. When I look at stuff like this, it drives me. You just can't. Again, we get back to the same old thing. Bonaparte was right so many years ago. The only thing that motivates people is fear and self-interest, because they don't care.
Yep.
They just don't care. But plastic bags are a major problem, and who knows how this ordinance is going to fly. It'll be interesting if she does.
Yeah, I want to see what happens with it, because it's important that they actually consider it. And the thing that bothers me though is that this is not the first time I've written an ordinance and I've submitted it. This is the first time they're actually going to take it off the table now to discuss it. And that's kind of sad that I have to do their job, or that any citizen has to do their job. When I call, or any citizen calls and says to a city councilor or a group of city councilors, look, I've got this issue and I think we should make an ordinance to solve this problem, they should immediately go and say, okay, let's look at this, let's discuss this, let's see if we can find a solution. Let's write an ordinance which addresses this. But they don't. They want somebody else to do the work for them. What are we paying them for? What are we paying them for? So they can sit in front of the TV camera at the studio and take 15 minutes to talk about absolutely nothing, or to repeat everything the other 8 councilors have said?
Yeah, and do that in spades around election time.
Yep. Or take a delivery of a pizza. I mean,
that was in highlights of 2017. That's got to be one of them. If we look over the highlights of 2017 on a show in the new year, that's probably going to be one of the highlights, you know, the pizza delivery. But, yeah, and, you know, you wonder sometime when you look at this stuff, and you know, there are no free lunches. You know,
No.
we're seeing, as you said, we're seeing, you know, we're seeing various kinds of gifts and stuff, but, you know, when you look at government, normally gifts translate into favors later. You know, there's no such thing. You know, the adage, there's no such thing as a free lunch, is true.
especially in government.
Especially in government. Nobody does anything. Nobody gives the government free stuff unless down the road they're looking for, as you said, you have to keep a close eye about contracts and stuff like that for these
Remember,
people who give
Streetscapes
gifts.
is coming up.
Beware of butt monkeys bearing gifts. See? I paraphrased an old saying. So
Yep.
that's it.
But, you know, because remember, Streetscapes construction is going to be coming up over the spring. So
yeah, he got his wish.
Yeah, he got his wish, and it's going to happen. And
Santa's bringing him a big giant sleigh.
Yep. And, you know, as we spoke about in the last show, you know, one of his big supporters got the job as being the receiver for a house, and now he's going to be selling that house after getting the job to remodel that house. So you tell me that being a political whore doesn't pay off.
Butt monkey.
Well, butt monkey whore, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I just cannot fathom why things can't be done with common sense.
Well, you know, we got to blame the people. You know, the people. Look, there was a major push in politics, and people allow it because look, we have the ultimate power.
They don't think they do, though.
Well, they know they do. But the problem is their self-interest always overrides their ability to make a decision in their own best interest in the long run. Because they don't care what you did in the past, even if you did your job well. They want to make sure that their political candidate controls everything. Every board, the city council. So people are elected because of political affiliations. Then we complain about Washington getting nothing done or doing things that are only partisan, and we can switch over to the federal level about this health care fiasco that we got, and the tax fiasco. Now they've melded the two. The tax also affects the health care, but everything's along party lines, and they're saying this is the greatest thing in the world, and other people saying it's horrible, and but the key to this again that shows that they don't care. They don't care if you're doing the greatest job in the world. If they want to get their guy in so they can get a favor from their guy, they get it, and the rationale is, well, let the other people get rid of their representatives or their congressmen or their state rep or their city council. I'm going to keep my city councilors that I can get something from, because again, it's all about self-interest. And if you look at this tax bill, it's pretty obvious that this tax bill is not for us. There is an 8-year sunset on this tax for the regular people like you and I, but corporations, it's forever. It's like Peter Pan, it'll never get old.
Or until the Democrats take control.
Or until the Democrats change it, exactly. So, I mean, look, talk about fairness. The multi-billion, not million, billion, and some of them trillion-dollar corporations will get a tax break when they almost don't pay taxes anywhere. I remember a few years ago that General Electric got $265 million back from the government and didn't pay any taxes when they made, I forgot how many trillions of dollars, because they employ 165 tax lawyers to find every loophole. You and I don't get many loopholes, but corporations are going to keep this tax break, which will realize itself in millions and millions of dollars forever. Ours is only good for 8 years, so I question, you know, their altruism. You know, this is just to get it through. They dangle this in front of us, and they're going to say how great it is. But, you know, look, again, look a little closer. But you can't change the city. You can't change the state. You can't change the country until you change your own people. If your people aren't working for you, if they have a political agenda, not a people agenda, when they're not representing you, when everything is about partisan politics and getting something for only people who are in that select circle, well, they don't belong there because they're not doing their job. Their job is to represent the people. That means representing people you don't like, too, unfortunately.
Not in Fall River. If you don't like them, you don't represent them.
That's right. And the thing is, that's one of the things, and a lot of people have forgotten it now, that was the reason they created labor unions.
That's right.
When they were chaining kids to the machines and abusing workers and making them, you know, everybody remembers the Triangle Factory, or they should know about the Triangle Factory fire, because they were, you know, unions were formed not to be self-interest groups and to say, oh, screw the other union. I don't care if they're without a contract. This guy's been good to me. So I'm going to hold a sign for him, not go walk a picket line with my friends. That's the reason that unions have become, you know, not looked upon well by the general public now. They've lost their power. At one time, unions were powerful because they truly did take care of each other. And I walked a lot of picket lines down the Cape for firefighter unions. We actually stopped a strike in St. Louis, a bus strike, Greyhound bus strike. The entire convention left the convention. From firefighters from everywhere, all over the United States and Canada, and we walked down to the bus terminal, and we completely stopped the Greyhound bus line, and they settled the strike. And I still have, and we did it again with a hotel workers union, and I still have the signed strike. All the workers whose jobs we saved those things. And at every convention, they'd have some union president who got fired for fighting for his men. And now, what they do is hold signs. They become political action committees, and that's the reason that unions are no longer looked upon as favorably as they used to be. Because in the old days, they understood the fact that you can't be friends with someone who, by definition, is an adversary. You have to bargain against management. So the best you can expect, or should expect, is mutual respect and peaceful coexistence. But that's not true anymore. You see them getting it by being butt monkeys.
Especially a union president, that's for sure.
Butt monkeys. That's how they get what they want. Let's be a bigger butt monkey than the other one. And the hell with the fact that you know it is. But hey, it is what it is. Things change. They get their way, and sometimes be careful what you wish for, because you might get it.
Exactly.
And if you get it later on, you might be holding a sign going, "Where are my benefits? Where are my benefits?" Why? Because, well, you got too expensive.
That's it. Well, one of our viewers just got a hold of me and said, "Hey, did you realize there's no terms listed? Are these lifetime appointments?" And he's right. There are no terms listed on the agenda. Is it a lifetime appointment? You don't know. And, you know, maybe our friend who likes to file open meeting law complaints may file one on this if he finds that, hey, it's not complete. You never know.
Well, yeah, maybe, I don't know, who knows, maybe, because maybe in a new charter, they'll interpret something that's not there and say he's got the right to keep him in there forever without renewing the appointment.
Right.
So who knows, because remember, the mayor also said that he has the right to waive.
Which he doesn't.
Which he doesn't.
Exactly.
If you can, I'll tell you what, I'm going to offer a challenge to the butt monkeys out there. You find in a charter where it says he can give an exemption to the residency, and let us know, and we will formally acknowledge it and say we were wrong.
That's right.
Because I've looked over that charter a bunch of times. I can't find anything. I've talked to a charter commissioner and asked him if there was ever a discussion, and he said, and he made every meeting. I think he may be the only charter commissioner who made every single meeting. And guess what? Nobody can find that, but as I said,
But Kathy Ann's never wrong.
we see what we want to see, and we disregard all the rest.
As you notice on the Committee on Real Estate, one of the items coming up is the Duro property.
Yeah.
It's bad enough we, as Mark Dion calls it, the delicious failure cake of the King Philip Mill.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to have to go out for another fruit cake, for another failure cake known as the Duro Properties.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't get one project even off the ground, and we're going to start another one. What is that supposed to accomplish?
Well, it'll accomplish us getting another albatross to hang around our neck, just like we did with the Ferris wheel or whatever
The carousel?
the carousel, the bounty, you can just name them all. Just another boondoggle, let's get, and that's the thing, they never learn in this city, ever.
Why bother?
It's like, the only thing they learn about is if it doesn't work, let's do it again.
Right.
Because that's the definition of insanity. So, we heard Kathy Ann and our crack team talking about skimming more money out of retirement. They said, oh, they're too conservative. Well, we talked about that, but guess what? They did that already between 2002 and 12, and our system plummeted from 80% funded to 40% funded. And guess what? They want to do it again. When it didn't fail badly enough, then let's try to do that again and convince the people this is a smart thing to do. You've already tried that. You don't speculate on a retirement fund. It has to be conservative. But who cares? That's why they're trying to get...
Fall River. We speculate on
That's why
everything.
they're trying to get control of that board, and they may very well do it. And guess what? If they do, good.
More low-income housing coming to Fall River.
Yeah, well, just what we need.
Yep, Wampanoag Mill, now going to be called the Knitting Mill Apartments.
So,
For age 62 and over, they just had a groundbreaking with every elected monarch present scooping up ceremonial sand.
and that was the mill that was done by a lot of illegal labor, I think, too. Wasn't there some allegations?
No. That one's further down the road. That's market rate housing. This one is down at the mill. The
Oh, the old
knitting
Fall
mill.
River knitting mill?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's in the back. So.
Yeah. So they're going to be.
That was a clandestine operation. I drive by there all the time. I never saw anybody over there.
So of course, this is just the way the game works.
But I find it hard to believe that they did any work on there without having something wrong. Some illegal work is because it's like almost every time they do any of these things, there's always questions about work theft, wage theft.
And Dan Rigo is always on top of that.
That's
always.
right.
So, hey, we'll see you on Wednesday on the day after the council meeting.
And it should be fun.
Beers are on you. Have a great day, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Stay angry.